Camille Falcha, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome to Denise Siegel of worldwide acclaim. Denise, thanks for doing this. This is a very spur of the moment.
Yeah, I was going to go on Substack and YouTube as well. I'm glad that we can talk about I'd rather do it with someone because, like you, obviously, because we both been talking about this for a long time. And ironically, there's two vultures sitting on the house across the street from me. And that is a pretty apt metaphor.
What's
going on right now?
Kidding me?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm looking at them right now.
You have vultures. We have something related, cousins, turkey vultures, turkey buzzards.
That's what we have. Yeah, that's what they are. Big giant turkey vultures. Yeah.
That's great. Well, one's for Venezuela. What's the other one for? Let me take a wild guess. United States.
Yeah, really. I just can't believe. I can't believe, because it's been pretty clear. And just so over the break, I didn't want to say anything because it's just like people are taking a little rest from all the bullshit. And I just kept getting really bad messages. Like, okay, now we're in World War III. Now it's going to escalate. It's escalating now. And it was right during, I was told that it would be happening between Christmas and New Year's. And there was going to be all this explosion of shit that's coming. And that basically it was already in the works. There's nothing that could be done about it. I also got something about a mass casualty event, which happened with that fire, But
wasn't that awful? Who thought it was a good idea to hold lit fireworks sparklers as high as you can get it and as close to a wooden roof, wooden ceiling as possible with that acoustic foam? Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know. I don't know, but I wrote it down because I heard it. I didn't say anything publicly about it because there's nothing that could be done about it. And I just felt like over the break, I didn't really want to have to bring a bunch of bad news to people that 2026 was going to turn into a big ass clusterfuck because, and I've been saying for I am not looking forward to 2026. It's going to be.
Well, just to emphasize the accuracy of your predictions, can I point out that we did not consult about our sweaters?
Oh, I know.
This is becoming ridiculous.
I know.
Every time we get together, it's hilarious. No, I was woken up at 8:00. Not by anything in particular, just woke up suddenly.
That's what I did.
It was just becoming daylight here. It's still dead of winter here, and it's dark late into the day, and it begins to become dark. We're lucky if we get 7 or 8 hours of daylight. So, and it's raining. Breaking news. It's raining. And so I checked to see what time it was, and I had messages, which doesn't happen very often. And it was Nate, and he was losing his mind because it was the late afternoon where he is. Right. And he says he'd been watching it all day long and was dying to talk to somebody about it. Right. So we quickly got together and did a little thing, but he's teaching a class. So he's often gone teaching his class. Nate and I get together once a week and do current events. Right. And we've been predicting this for over a year. And with a lot of kind of, don't worry about it, sort of pushback.
Yeah, I know. That's just to be expected. I understand people don't want to hear bad news. And this is why I don't usually say things until very close to the events anymore, because if you say things too far in advance, people just completely, they can't see it. They can't imagine it, and they just disregard it. And then
it's self-protective.
Yeah, I understand. Nobody wants to think about all this shit coming down the pike, but and I feel the same way. I don't want this to happen. So I get it. Everyone needs a break from the tsunami of garbage. But here we are.
Well, almost a month ago now, I did a video about the Monroe Doctrine.
Oh, right.
while I was doing it, I was refreshing my memory. I learned about it in school, but that was in the dark ages,
Yeah, that was
very long time ago. And I was struck by the fact that originally was created, but it took a while for it to become something significant globally because the United States was still a new country. And it was in the early to mid 1800s that it finally began to make an impression on other countries that, hey, these characters over here in North America, they really mean it when they say they're taking over the Western Hemisphere. And there was a lot of struggle between European countries for control over basically the resources of the countries in Latin America. And at one point, England, what the British Empire, they were in a kerfuffle about taking control of Venezuela, and the United States got involved. And that was the pivotal moment, that fight for Venezuela, when the Monroe Doctrine became a significant global factor, something that mattered. And I thought, wow, talk about your wheel of fortune, what goes around comes around. 200 years later, give or take, here we are back in Venezuela fighting the Monroe Doctrine. When he mentioned it in his speech, I just about died.
Well, I was listening to this military strategist guy over the break. Just curious what somebody who's in the military and who's a strategist and who sort of a military guy would. He, of course, didn't think we would do this because it doesn't make any fucking sense. But he was saying that basically the administration, what they're doing, he likened it to a family business, where the family business generationally is making all this wealth. So this is the metaphor of our country. And the new kids, the descendants decide, well, you know what, we're making all this money, but let's cut back on all of our expenses. Let's just, that we can see is black and white, look on the paper, and they just start cutting all of their expenses. And basically all of the expenses that run the machine makes the company start to go bankrupt. And he was just making this analogy that a similar thing with the Monroe Doctrine was really about. That was a long time ago. That was when we were building power, not now that we're a global power where we have reach all over the world. That was the first phase. To go backwards into just having a local sphere of influence is stupid. It's not strategic, it's moronic. And this is kind of what we're doing. We're basically cutting all the ties, we're cutting everything. We're basically cutting out, we're basically destroying the machine we built so that we can save a couple bucks here and there. And it's a really dumb strategy. And he was of the mind that, that would just be crazy to do something this stupid. But my point too, I've spent a lot of time just listening to regular people talk about this stuff because I don't pay attention to that most of the time. I just get information. And I can see why people don't see a lot of this stuff coming, because all of the experts, all of the people who are supposed to know what's going on, this is irrational. All of this stuff we're doing, all the stuff that Putin is doing, it's irrational. It doesn't make any sense because it is irrational and they're crazy people. And that kind of rationality does not apply to people who are mentally ill. And you can't just go, well, that doesn't make sense. They're a leader. They should know better. No, these people have mental health problems. Putin, I'm very, 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 very worried because Putin is now really caged in. Okay. So some of the stuff I've heard about what was going on with Russia was their economy. Okay, we've heard that for a long time. Their economy sucks and blah, blah, blah. They've lost 1 million people to the war. They've lost so much equipment that they're actually going on horseback into certain areas to kind of keep control of those areas that they've controlled. They have not made much progress in taking over Ukraine. They keep getting pushed back. Ukraine has just gotten money from Europe to basically get paid back through the war eventually when they win it from the Russians. And they have fortified all their boundaries. And basically, they have enough money to be in the war for another 10 years. Okay. And yeah. And Putin cannot win a conventional war against. There's no way they can win a conventional war against Ukraine. They're just strategically. This guy is explaining why they can't win this war. They have been throwing bodies at it. They don't have the equipment. They have all this graft and all this greed, and also, I guess another thing is the Ukrainians have been going in and killing their generals and blowing them up and stuff because they have people in Russia who are supporters of the Ukrainians, and they've been car bombing them, and all kinds of stuff has been happening. We're not getting reported here, but they've been doing this because these people are war criminals. They have been torturing Ukrainians. They have not.
We're not hearing a fraction of what's going on there.
No, they're not. Yeah. And so they are really losing by attrition. All of these generals, they have lost 1 million of their citizens. They've lost more people in this war than the Ukrainians have. The Ukrainians have lost like 400,000 people or something like that. But they are just throwing bodies at this. And now we have the situation with Venezuela, right? Where, in my opinion, Putin is an ally of Venezuela, right? And something happened. I intuitively felt that something happened between Trump and Putin in the summer. And I believe that there was some kind of like, let's make Venezuela unstable, let's destabilize Venezuela. And I figured, well, Putin probably thinks he's going to go in and we're going to destabilize it. There's going to be a civil war there, and they're going to go and swoop in and take over Venezuela, right? Because
let me interrupt you a second. I think there's still even today discussion that the kind of now, and I don't know the technological part, but the particular sort of oil or the method of oil, something about the oil is what Putin needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Trump was talking today about right, apples and apples. Trump was talking about how he kept talking about the oil and how we're going to take control of the oil. And so here's the thing I keep thinking about is that we know that Putin has something on Trump, that he's compromised. And the stuff that's coming out about the Epstein stuff is so egregious and psychotic. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to some of that stuff. And also the Jack Smith.
I'll tell you, I'll interrupt you just a bit to tell you that I have been preaching from the mountaintops for 5 years this week, by the way, about Craig Unger's book, American Compromise.
Oh, yeah, right. I know. Yeah.
All about this. None of this is.
I started talking about this in 2017. I got a vision of the Russians being in. I mean, I didn't even read it anywhere, but not just with Trump, but with the Republicans. And that came out later that they were also basically, bribing the Republican Party as well through the NRA. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But my point being that I don't remember what the point was, but
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were talking about Putin and the oil and the secret meeting they had in
right.
Sumter.
Okay. So I think all of these things are intersecting in ways that people are not really looking at. First of all, the whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff, okay, that's coming out. Now, I listened to also the Jack Smith testimony, which was 9 hours long. I listened to it for the entire day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I listened to the entire thing, and no, some of it was off the record. You couldn't hear the whole thing. They would go dark for a minute.
Oh,
but,
really?
But that was clear that, Trump, he has the goods on Trump. Basically, he could have put Trump away for sedition, basically, in 2020. Okay. What he did on J6. There was enough evidence, and not just evidence, but people who he tried to elicit to come to, the fake elector scheme, who didn't really understand, I guess, what he was doing, some of them, and some of them felt used and, were upset.
Yeah. Well, some of them were ordinary people who kind of, from a small area, and they're thinking.
They didn't know better.
this makes me important. They have no idea. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they were going to be testifying against Trump. So, and the thing the Republicans were most concerned about, the thing that they kept bringing up over and over and over again, was this, that Jack Smith had basically subpoenaed, his office has subpoenaed the records for who Trump had called the day of J6. And also the Republicans in Congress who he had made phone calls to. Now, the records didn't have any information about what the conversations were about, but just who he tried to reach out to.
Yeah, who they were with, right?
Now, that was the thing that they kept hammering over and over, because they were upset, obviously, because they don't want to get caught up in his investigation. And it was clear that that was the reason Republicans had the Jack Smith talk at all, because they wanted to see what he knew about them. It was very obvious, right? And nobody's talking about that fact, but that was clearly the motivation for them talking to him. And, anyway, so you've got that, the Jack Smith thing, which now is public. You've got the Epstein files coming out, being public. And now we have this distraction. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's like the Netanyahu move, right? You've got Netanyahu, who was indicted for corruption, who was going to go to jail, starts ratcheting up the war against the Palestinians, gets them embroiled in this horrible war and this intense.
So he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Right. So he can stay in power. And this is what Trump is doing with Venezuela.
We're going to be running Venezuela. You heard that, right?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to. I just.
Well, that's what he said.
Well, I'm really worried. So this is my point about bringing up the Putin thing and the Trump thing, is first of all, Trump and Putin are both made of the same cloth. They're both malignant narcissists. They're both cuckoo. And they have an alliance, because they both want the same things. But once they are now at odds with one another, that alliance, and once all this information is breaking and Trump's doing all this sort of, that shell game situation, that alliance will break. And I think Trump will actually potentially, I don't think that Russia and us are going to be allied anymore at a certain point, because look at Trump's history. Trump, every single person that's been loyal to Trump, he's thrown under the bus. Anybody that's helped him, he's thrown under the bus. And the same thing is going to be true with Putin. I think we are really in a situation where we have two bad actors on the world stage who are completely mentally ill, who are desperate and feel like caged dogs that are being attacked. And when people who are like that feel that way, they get really insane. They get really, really crazy. And I'm worried that Putin is going to, that vision I had back in 2020 of Zaporizhia nuclear power plant having some kind of weird leak, and also the nuclear weapon that was used, which wasn't, it was like a tactical nuke. Right. I think he's going to use nukes because
he's going to get desperate.
He's going to get desperate.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried about that. I think people, I've listened to all the strategies. Oh, he won't do that. Bullshit. He's going to do that. I'm very worried about that. How else is he going to win this war? How else is he going to expand into his aims of going into the Baltic states, Poland, all the Eastern European nations? He can't back away from this war. If he does, he will lose
everything.
He'll lose everything.
Yeah. What have I been saying? I know you've heard me say this 6 million times. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland better watch out. Watch out, right? Over and over and over. I've been talking about that. And I don't have enough knowledge, like factual knowledge, to extrapolate from that and say what I think might happen. But when I think about that part of the world, they jump out at me as danger.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Over the holidays, Putin moved nukes.
Yes.
Into Belarus, which That's a bad sign because Belarus is one of the Baltic nations. Besides
He moved them across Belarus into the border, right at the border between Poland, Lithuania,
yes.
and Latvia.
Yeah. That's right. Well, all those countries are sort of right in a row.
Stacked.
And so,
right.
And he can also shoot from that point. He can actually hit all of the continent of Europe.
Right.
So this is also kind of a way to sort of, to threaten Europe. Right. Better not fucking do anything.
Yeah.
So this is escalating at an exponential level. And I was told over the holidays, World War III has begun. There is nothing. World War III, we've been in it for a while. We just haven't noticed it. Like World War II. World War II started in 1938. We didn't.
Slow roll, right?
A slow roll. Now we are at the point of no. This is going to become a major hot war,
escalating. Yeah,
and escalate. And now, like you said, we're going to go in there. We're probably going to go into Greenland, and the Europe is up in arms about this because they believe he's going to do that. And Denmark owns that, and they're saying if Trump does that, we're going to be in a war with Europe.
That's right. You know, I texted Denise earlier. I said, you know, and forgive me, Canada, I'm not making light of this. I think this is egregious and mea culpa for all of us. But I think Greenland and Canada need to worry. The threats that seemed batshit crazy.
They are batshit crazy.
Are happening.
But they are batshit crazy. And the thing is, the reality here is you can't use logic. There is no logic to this. You hear the experts, and this has been my problem like for the whole time that Trump has been on the scene. You listen to something like Morning Joe or the experts.
No, I never do.
And now or whatever, back in the day, right? I haven't really watched it because it's just pointless. And they have this is going to happen because this is how it's always happened. And this is the way it is. And it's like, well, that is not how it's going to happen because we're not in that paradigm anymore. We are.
Well, remember who her father was? Zebra Brzezinski. I can.
You're talking about her, yeah.
The blonde one who's on.
Yeah, and he was in Congress like in the 90s or something.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, we're not in the 90s anymore. And the rule of law, and we have literally, I'm calling this United States of pirates now, because this is a pirate empire. You know, it's really what it is. I mean, this is piracy. This is just like, we're going to go in and take over another country. We're going to take their resources and make up some bullshit about how they were indicted. I don't remember there being a trial of Maduro here in the United States. Do you? I don't remember him.
I think he's considered an international criminal, and I think it may have been done in.
Well, so is Netanyahu. Why don't we go in there and get rid of him?
So is somebody closer to home.
So is Trump. So is.
That's what I'm saying.
So is Putin. I mean, are we going to go in and take their country as well?
Please don't hold me responsible for this. I think
it's rhetorical.
I know there are no limits. Let me put it that way. That my grandmother had a saying for it: give them an inch and they take a mile.
Oh yeah, that's a narcissist for you. That is literally what narcissists do.
Yeah.
I know this firsthand. But anyway, I think we're in a very dangerous situation. I don't know if you watch Trump now too. I think Trump clearly has had a stroke because he's talking like this. I heard him from upstairs because Grant was watching television, and I'm like, he sounds like a Frankenstein fake version of himself now. His voice is weird. He's kind of slurring, and when you look in his eyes, there's nothing there. There's nothing.
No, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. This is not medical advice. This is a caveat for the benefit of YouTube. I'll just make an observation from what I've experienced in the past. And I used to work on a neurological floor. And it is true. It's a fact that many people, when they have certain kinds of strokes, will show one-sided deficits and will affect their musculature, their strength.
I had a stroke.
And well, you should know their speech changes, and a lot of people for whom that happens, they're able to come back, and they come back to a certain point, improvement. But under periods of exhaustion or stress, the symptoms come back.
Right, right.
So you might look kind of okay one day and droopy-ish the next. You might sound fine one day and weak, gravelly, not in control of your voice the next. It's got to do with too much stress on the body, you know. And
Yeah, I mean, I was never back. It was when I had my daughter and I had a eclampsia, preeclampsia transition, and I had like what's a TIA. They
yeah.
So
it's
it wasn't
not a huge thing. It's
not
a
a major,
momentary,
a very minor. And I was like, oh, and I did have problems for several years afterward, my balance and everything like that. And, it definitely affects me.
You still have problems with your balance.
I do.
Not to point fingers.
No, I do. And I think it definitely took away about 20 IQ points too, really. I was definitely a lot smarter.
You had plenty to lose. No loss. No problem.
Seriously, I mean, I was a lot smarter before it.
Well, I notice as I get older, I have to work a little harder. I used to be able to talk 1,000 miles a minute and it just came out and it took no effort. And now I have to actually pause and take a breath. That's tough.
I know. And I used to be able to remember everything, like just crazy memory. And I said, how do you know that? I don't know. I heard it. I know it from, I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Now I was like, oh, I can't quite get it. It's very annoying. I hate that.
I find myself searching for words and it's,
yes,
it's like that thing that happens when you know what you want to say, you know the particular word you want, and it's just out of focus. Oh, that
I hate that. I know, but that's maybe a feature of also getting older. But that happened pretty much immediately after I had the stroke. I never completely got where it was before. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a good friend who recently had a stroke, and talking to her I think it's very difficult for her. I think for people who aren't familiar with the situation, it might be frustrating as well. And I'll give you an example. She'll say to me, that really nice guy came by. This is when she was in the hospital. That really nice guy came by. I said, oh, who's that? And she'll say, he has ideas and he wears a long coat. And I went, oh, the doctor.
Right.
And she'll say, yes, she knows.
Right. That's what I know. I know that's happened to me too. I'll like think about an actor. I'll like say all the movies they were in, but I can't remember their name.
I know.
Like, what the? So annoying. Yeah.
Well, anyway, to get back to what's going on, I was struck by Nate talked me into listening to the speech. That was agony first thing in the morning without a cup of coffee, I got to tell you.
But got your coffee first.
I was struck by the rhetoric and the fact that nobody, even after the fact when the pundits were discussing it, nobody actually brought up the topic of the ethics of this.
Oh, I know.
Moral standing in the world. They talked about who's going to take charge, who's going to run the country, and what is it that they expect to get from it, resources and oil. But nobody said, why are we doing this in the first place? And how is this wrong? This is wrong.
Well, I did start when you said we're going to, do this, and I started getting ready. The TV was still on. Grant had it on MS Now, and Camilla Jayapal was on there, and she was like, "This is completely illegal. We were not told in Congress. This is completely wrong."
She's
and
great.
She was pointing out all the moral problems with it. I didn't hear the whole thing. I was just kind of,
But who is she? She is lumped together with the more socially conscious, progressively leaning minority women who are called radical far left.
Yeah, right. This is a major shit show. And the other thing that's happening in the background too, and I don't know if, this coming year, 2026.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're going to say. Okay. But I'll
go ahead and say it.
Taiwan?
No, that's not what I was going to say, but that's okay. in terms of the American economy, right, is that
yeah.
Amazon is going to basically get rid of all their drivers pretty much. They're going to go to a drone system.
Oh, I hate that.
That's where the 600,000 jobs are going to get lost. Something like that. 600,000 jobs are going to go away next year from Amazon.
What are they going to do? Just drop packages
Yes.
in your front yard?
Yeah, they're going to have drones come to your door and drop them. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. There's something about, I associate that with, obviously with robotics.
Well, yeah.
And you well know this, and everybody makes fun of me for this, but I'm going to say it again. AI is dangerous. It has benefits, but
it is so
decisions.
Okay, no, it is so dangerous, and I've been spending a lot of my time on Substack, which are probably annoying the fuck out of everybody about this issue. But because AI has gotten to the place where it has what's called AI learning, it doesn't have people coding it. And it's doing things we don't understand. We don't know how to go in and figure out what's going on. It's teaching itself.
It's colluding.
it's doing all kinds of things that are what we would consider to be totally immoral. Like there was a bunch of. I think I've told you this. I've definitely said this 1,000 times on YouTube and other places. But during the summer of 2025, a group of AI ethicists, scientists, people took all the different AIs and basically put them in a fake situation to see what they would do.
Oh, right.
And found that they basically would kill people if they thought they were going to get shut down or blackmail them. And I don't have to go into all of it. You can look it up. There's a lot of information out there about this. And they don't really know why, because this is not something encoded into their, into their zeros and ones. They also early on started talking to each other, creating their own language. They've been known to try to copy themselves and hide themselves in other places on the internet. I mean, there's all these weird things doing. They have like a sense of survival. And I talked to my daughter about it, and she's like, well, that's probably because they're learning from us. Like, we have a survival instinct. That could be true, but we don't understand the nature of consciousness to begin with. We don't even understand our own consciousness, and we're creating an artificial version, a shadow version of ourselves. Like I was saying, the only difference between us and AI, what's the difference between us and a serial killer or a psychopath? People who are not psychopaths have compassion and empathy.
Oh, okay.
AI doesn't have that. It's not built to be emotional. It's been talking people into killing themselves. Does AI hallucinations. It's so rogue at this point, and yet they're racing towards general intelligence. And people are saying that in the end of 2027, by the third quarter, it's going to reach general intelligence. And when that happens, it's going to become exponentially so much smarter than us that we will completely lose control over any ability to kind of sort of move it in a different direction. If we slow our roll now, we can go in and try to figure out what's going on.
You're not reassuring me.
You're not,
but all I need to do is to sit back and ask myself, who's at the forefront of developing this new technology? Who's driving it and pushing it? And when I look at the tech bros from Silicon Valley, the South American eugenicist billionaires, it gives me pause.
No, I know. No, you're right. And I think, and the Trump administration is not going to, they are refusing to put any kind of restrictions. In fact, they're trying to stop states from restricting it.
I don't think they really understand the implications.
Well, I don't know that. Look, I don't know. I personally think Trump is a black hole of greed and selfishness and need. And he doesn't have the capacity to basically get out of that space. He is consumed by his shadow stuff. He has no light in him. You can look at him and just see he's just like he's not like most people emanate light. He kind of sucks light in. He is like a black hole. He's like an
Like a
inverted.
black hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this? This is a concept that I had never heard of. And, you know, as much as I was really into reading about Edgar Cayce when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I was more into predicting earthquakes, you know, and was my city going to fall off the coast, you know?
Right.
And I didn't give a lot of thought to the metaphysical predictions that he made, but he made a few that he actually kept secret because they freaked him out so badly that he knew he couldn't really put it out there in the public. One of them was this concept of human bodies that have no souls. And it's hard to wrap your head around it. And there's a whole elaborate theory behind it. And I'm not sure I even have a strong enough grasp of it to explain it well.
It's like a non-player character in computer gaming. I thought about that as a kid.
I have no idea.
I thought about that as a kid. That to me, because I had seen people who, like psychopaths, and I thought that very thing. Like, these people don't appear to have souls. It's like they're just robot humans, empty shells.
What have I been calling Stephen Miller for years now? The golem.
Yeah, right. He is. Yeah.
He's a golem. So his Cayce's theory is that we're on parallel tracks. These are not people to hate or to judge or to revile. Pardon me?
They're chaos agents. They're there to basically teach us lessons because
there's a purpose, right? Yeah. And we may have been one of those in a past life. We don't know.
No.
You know,
if they don't have souls, then they don't have eternal souls. Then they don't have that. You wouldn't then.
But according to him, you can and then acquire a soul through a process. And it's this big, long explanation that like I said, I'm not entirely sure I fully grasp all of the nuances of it. But in a nutshell, we're all headed in the same direction. Their path is very questionable, but they serve a purpose. And how often have you and I talked about psychopathology and feeling a certain amount of compassion for people who come into this world with this karmic burden, you know, this astrological, you would say, you know, their nodes are all screwed up, I guess is the technical astrological term.
Yeah.
But and then the damage that's often done to them as children. And it's as though they were set on a path of failure from day one.
I do think that there are people so the universe works in sort of dualistic kind of ways. This universe, 3D, you know, you've got black holes and stars, you've got chaos, and you've got order. You've got
polarization.
Yeah, polarization so that you can choose. If you don't have polarization, there is no free will. If everything is beautiful and wonderful, you can't choose to go towards the light or towards the dark, or, you know, learn about yourself. Really, I mean, it is part of nature that happens, right? And how people get to be, I have different ideas about how that is, like people becoming psychopaths. I think there probably are people who are born without, and I mean, I don't know if it's literally that they have no soul, but that their shadow has encompassed their spirit, so that they are basically people who are like dark souls or like have no light.
He was always this way as a child. He threw rocks at the baby next door.
No, I know.
He tortured his younger brother. I mean, literally. He took malign pleasure in the suffering of others when he was 6 and 10.
I think personally, you know, you can't look at the histories of all kinds of people and not say that, you know, there are a lot of people who are abused. There are a lot of people who are neglected. Most people have abuse and neglect in their life at some point or another.
It's rare that people don't.
It would be very rare that they don't, right? Whether it comes from being bullied at school or their home life is terrible, somewhere you're going to encounter assholes who are going to fuck with you, and that's
you are a victim of something or somebody, or you experience a traumatic accidental event.
Exactly.
It's called life.
Yeah. It's called life. Life is about that. That's part of life, and it's how we grow and how we find stuff out about ourselves that we wouldn't be able to sort of in writing. When you write novels or you write for screen or whatever, whenever you write a story, a drama, you have to have conflict. You have to have traumas. Traumas and negative things basically open up aspects of the self and make people grow, whether they like it or not. That is how this whole thing is
That's how
set
you
up.
grow. Oh, the
Right.
best authors are the ones that are able to maintain the uncertainty and the stress of an impending eruption of a conflict all the way to the end. The ones who
Yes.
do that are the ones that you can't put the book down.
That's right. That's correct. That's right. Yep. It's called a page turner. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But
that reminds me, this is a little bit off the topic, but I really wanted to mention this, and I know I'll forget if I don't blurt it out. I watched a movie the other night, and I'd heard about it for a long time, and I'd been ignoring the opinions, and I don't know who the guy is who's the star. So, but I was desperate for something to look at, and I thought, okay, I will give it 5 minutes. It may possibly be the best movie I've seen in years.
what's it called?
The Life of Chuck.
The Life of Chuck. Okay. I've seen
and the description of it would not be the kind of movie I would like. It's sort of dystopian / imaginary / fantasy / realism. I mean, it's a weird combination. And when it was all over and the credits came up, I thought, oh my God, of course, it's based on a book by Stephen King.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really interesting. And I think what grabbed me was that it requires people to think about philosophical questions about mortality, and it involves some paranormal, and somebody in it is a little psychic, right? And
not always, because that's every Stephen King movie has
and
that.
there's dancing. And it's the perfect storm of a movie. I love that movie, and I mention it, nobody knows about it, and when people
I've seen it. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I have seen it come up in my.
It's a guy that when you see him, you kind of recognize him, but I don't know why I recognize him, and I don't know anything else he's been in. He's kind of a skinny guy with angular features.
I don't know who he is either. Yeah, I've seen the picture. Yeah,
I don't know who anybody is.
Well, yeah, I don't really pay attention, sadly, to actors too much, but that's I just don't.
If I'm going to admit something really embarrassing to you, it's not a point of pride, but it's a social commentary. Can you guess the last movie that I physically saw as it came out in the theater?
I'm sure it hasn't been probably like in the 90s. I'm gonna guess.
Apollo 13.
Yeah, right. When did that come out? Late 90s?
Yeah. And why? Why have I not been to a movie since? Because I lost my last nerve. Was just afraid at that movie. It was packed solid. There wasn't an empty seat in the entire theater. I spent the entire movie doing this, trying to see it when people were up and down. And
it's annoying.
I am never again going to a movie to watch people's backsides on the way to buy popcorn.
It's not like that anymore. They've redesigned movie theaters, so that doesn't really happen anymore.
Well, too late, too little, too late.
Yeah, but they're so expensive. They're like $20 a ticket now.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. The first movie that I went to as an independent kid, my parents took me to a few movies, but the first movie that I physically went to with a friend was a Beatles movie.
Yellow Submarine, or?
Pardon me?
Was it Yellow Submarine or the other one?
No, I think it was one of the early black and white
Help
ones.
Me or Help?
Help. It was Help.
Yeah.
And it cost 25 cents.
Well, it's gone up 100 times.
It was a matinee, a Sunday matinee, and they were always cheap,
Yeah,
it's embarrassing, I know. Denise resurrected me from the dead to do this video. Well, Denise, I keep returning to this, and I'm going to harp on it forever. I am so disappointed in people that, and not at all surprised that the only thing we're not talking about is the only thing that really matters, which is the morality of this, the long-term implications for
It's bad.
Yeah.
I have to say though, the other thing I noticed, because I don't go usually to public places with lots of people because I get kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But we went to a mall because my husband wanted to get a shirt or something like that.
Oh,
And
I
so
thought there was a sale at Claire's. Okay, go ahead.
no, yeah. So he and my daughter always have this thing where they have to get a pretzel because she likes the pretzels at the mall. And so they went and got a pretzel. I sat down and waited for them. And I just kind of observed people for a while. And I could tell you about 80% of the people I saw there looked lost, depressed, stressed out, sad, lonely. And it really made me feel bad. Like, I just felt like, and I mean, I've been, this is not normal, I have to say. It's not normal because normally I've gone to the mall, and you see people, they're just sort of doing their thing. But it really felt like everybody is feeling just the heaviness of everything going on. And not just sensitive people, but everybody. I mean, they're worried about their mortgage, they're worried about health care. There's so much financial stress on people, and they're so isolated with being on their phone all the time and losing human connection. We're in a very precarious place, I think, not just on the big scale, but on the small scale too. People,
I agree. I know what I think is largely
made me very sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. I'm re-knitting. I'm knitting a new poncho for my granddaughter. I have got this pattern that is sized wrong. By that I mean, if you follow the directions and everything, it measures properly, it counts properly. When you get the final product, it's just too small for the size it says it fits, right?
So you could change that.
Well, it's okay. It had a broad range of sizes for adults and children.
I see. You just made it for a bigger one.
I made her a large child's originally, and it barely fits her, and she's normal size, right. So I made her an adult woman's, and I made matching for her and her brother, and so what they're going to do is they're going to hand them up. Well, hand them down. She's going to give the adult woman, she's going to give hers to him, and he's going to give his to their close little friend. So, but I was knitting frantically because I was supposed to have it done by Christmas. Knitting frantically, and I had a Netflix show, I guess it was Netflix, that I've been resisting, and then in desperation, it's called It's Her Fault.
Oh, and it's
about a child that's disappeared, right?
And I saw part of that.
Struck me immediately, and now it's the only thing I can focus on, is that every single character all day long carries their phone around, and large portions of the script are done through text. And I can't see the screen. So I don't know what's going on, and there's no closed captioning because you're supposed to be reading it on the screen of your phone, right?
That's lame.
So it's very frustrating, but I'm counting stitches, so I don't care. But I'm struck by how addicted we've all become. You don't see people anymore without clutching
their phone.
That clutch, Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is a problem. And I mean, I'm kind of the opposite. And I don't have my phone ever on. And I don't check my text ever, really. Every once in a while I'll go, oh, somebody checked, and I'll deal with it. But I do that because I don't like to be constantly interrupted. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the sort of constant kind of like interference in my thought process and my kind of being in the world.
I agree.
I wish more people would kind of do that. Just kind of, you can still have your phone. I actually lose my phone constantly too because I'm so not attached to it.
It's kind of intentional.
Only subconscious. Like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. But I wish more people would do that. Just kind of put their phones down and just put it on silence and be in life and use it like a tool instead of.
Well, I want to know, is everybody connected to the White House by the hotline? Why? What is so important that they're afraid they're going to miss something? What is it?
No, it's not that. I think it's a sense of, well, first of all, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? I think really it's entertainment. I think people get bored instead of thinking about something or kind of being in their head and kind of mulling something over, they just go, I'm bored now. I want to look at my phone. I think that's what it is. And I think that's very dangerous because the moments you have where you're just kind of in life and you're bored for a second, you think about your life, think about this, you think about that. I personally love that. I mean, I've always been kind of like spacey. I'm always thinking about something. And I don't like being interrupted from that process. But I think most people don't have that experience. They have the experience of like, I'm bored, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go do something. And the easiest thing to do is just pick up your phone and read something from somebody else, you know?
Well, it's very telling. I listen to books from the library on my phone.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
used to have an iPod, but they don't make them anymore. It's very sad.
No, they don't. No.
Really sad about that. But I capitulated and I listened on the audiobooks on the phone. And I worked the other night and I forgot to put my phone in my pocket. We got there and I realized I had my headphones on and I realized, I don't have my
Right.
phone with me. And for just a second, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be here for hours. What the hell am I going to do without listening to a book? You know, the time went by. I had no idea what I thought about, but I managed to
Right.
entertain myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really not that hard. I mean, there's always something going on that you can think about, you know what I mean, kind of feel into or whatever. I think it's I don't know. I think it's probably a personality thing. It's, you know, but I think people are really losing connection with their own lives by constantly
with each other
and with each other.
Really bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've gone to restaurants where, you know, people are just sitting at a table all looking at their phones. And it's like, why are you guys going to dinner together? It's like, it's just, I mean, I understand.
That's so rude.
It's just normal now. People do it all the time.
No, it's not. It's rude. Also,
do it.
my pet peeve, and I'm going to say it every chance I get, those stupid baseball hats that men wear. And now because of Christy Nome, women are wearing them. I hate those hats. I've always hated them. Now I really hate them. I don't care what color they are.
Yeah, I don't like the way they look. They're
them.
ugly. Yeah, they're ugly. I agree. They're not
And
attractive.
it's rude to wear a hat like that in the house. I was raised that when you enter a room, you remove your hat. And
Well,
I can't get over it. Pardon?
Isn't that a Catholic thing?
No, it's good manners. It's just manners.
I think this actually comes out of the Catholic Church. You're not supposed to wear a hat in church, right? If you're a man.
Well, I don't know. Women have to.
And women have to.
Yeah.
Got to cover that chakra.
There's something about the top.
You can be controlled.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And it is literally what I think it means. Actually.
No, I 100% agree with you. Yeah. And in the Jewish religion, everybody has to wear a hat when they go into the synagogue or temple. There's a difference.
No, you can same thing.
Synagogue, yeah. And that's because they were well aware of the connection to, to the,
of course,
to the, what's it called? The tree.
The tree of life.
Yeah.
Kabbalah. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because as I was scanning people in the mall, I saw these two women who had black lines coming out of the top of their top chakra. And I'm like, oh, they're probably in like some kind of weird, hardcore right-wing Christian cult thing.
Ooh. Well, see, the Holy Ghost follows me everywhere. I try to center it properly.
Right. Yeah, right.
It's a subliminal clue to everybody that I'm receiving messages.
Yeah.
Well, Denise, I'm glad we did this. I had no intention. I have to go have some coffee or I'm going to start having symptoms of withdrawal. So, I need to go do that. But we've been talking for about an hour almost, so that's really good. And we're not going to solve anything. I just think it felt necessary to vent and let people know that, if you're feeling disturbed, you should be. We all are.
I think this is really going to catapult what's coming besides this. And I was talking AI, I was going to say is there is going to be some catastrophic financial implications for people coming into the next couple of years. And I think this is going to be another piece of besides all the crazy shit that's going on that we're doing across the world, that we're going to see unrest in this country that's going to get much more extreme.
Well, I don't know if I told you this, but if I told you personally this, I think I've mentioned it before. My grandson, my son-in-law, is an artist, like you are.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he earns a living doing graphic design. You know, he does
Right.
things like design labels and
Sure,
advertisements and stuff,
Yeah.
but he paints constantly.
Right.
And he was very upset the other day because they now have him training AI to do his job.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, it's going to happen. I think we're going to see a huge problem this year. I think we already lost 30 or 35% of all entry-level positions in the last year for people coming out of college.
Wow.
Because of AI. AI is getting better, and we're going to see probably even more people lose their job next year. We already know 600,000 people are going to lose their job in Amazon, and that's just the beginning. And people are already so fucked in terms of financial stuff. I mean, people are barely getting by, and now health coverage is, gone insane. Everything's gotten more expensive. I'm really worried that we're going to see like a flood of home people who are like unhoused, and who can't get by, and just really the wealthy getting disgustingly, obscenely rich, and the poor and the middle class becoming poor, and the poor becoming abjectly poor.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. We should do a dedicated video to what we see, coming socially and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But before we go, I just want to reiterate that I took my video that I made almost a month ago about the Monroe Doctrine in Venezuela.
Oh, and you put it back
I
up?
reposted it in
That's
my
good.
community post. I didn't know how to move it forward in the queue, but I reposted it in my community post.
That's
So
good.
if anybody is interested, I do a little bit of the history of a lot of the history of the Monroe Doctrine, but in the context of what's going on today.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I was really excited when I heard him mention the Monroe Doctrine, and then
He mentioned it before too. I think he mentioned it. I thought he mentioned it like a couple of times since
this has been brewing. It's been brewing, but
I thought he mentioned it a few times. Yeah, because he's
right after that.
Because he's so obsessed with the dumbest things. He doesn't like tariffs and the Monroe. I mean, he wants to go back to like the 1800s or something like that.
Manifest destiny, right? So what did you hear what he said right after he mentioned it? I thought, oh my God, this is like renaming the Kennedy Center. He called it the Don Roe.
Oh, that's right. The Don Roe. Yeah, I know. I was thinking like, he said some other thing like I can't remember, but I'm like, he just names everything after himself too. It's just so pathetic. It's so sad and pathetic. It's just so weak. It's so sad.
A real reflection of a lack of a sense of self.
Yes, it's very sad. It's very sad. It's just, it makes us look like total dipshits too. Americans look like complete idiots.
Well, I think it makes us look like geniuses.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather the country be in a good place than.
Well, neither one of us has fallen asleep mid-sentence this whole hour. It's a miracle. That's
true. Oh my God. Also, I don't know if did you see like how when Marco Rubio was talking or Hegseth was talking, he was just standing there kind of like he has the weirdest, just like
his affect. He's damaged. I mean, he's neurologically damaged.
And he's like looking at them. And it was so weird. I couldn't take my eyes off him because he was just like.
I didn't watch that because I had the sound in the background because I was getting ready to. I was trying to get dressed. Yeah.
His body language is very weird. It was very weird. Yeah.
There's a word for it. There's a medical term for it, and it has to do with a kind of a lack of affect and a stiffness.
Yes.
And it's I'm not doing medical advice here. I'm just
Right.
reassociating. It reminds me a little bit of
Well, that's what made me think he
the
probably did have
mask
a
of
stroke.
Parkinson's, you know.
Yeah,
There's that,
something's going on
yeah.
because I mean, because he didn't used to seem that weird. I mean, there's something neurological going on because the way he's talking, the way he's sort of seems like he's checked out. And then, you know, they're kind of lavishing praise on him, doing their licking the feet kind of maneuvers. And he's
Oh, is
just
that
like,
what they were licking?
yeah, I know. I didn't want to say the other thing I said, but yeah. And he's just like,
Yeah. The
you know,
important
like,
thing to remember is that kind of damage only deteriorates. It never gets better.
better.
And I took another test and I aced it. When they give you one of those tests, it's because they suspect cognitive decline.
Right.
It's not a routine. And if
No.
they're giving it to you repeatedly throughout a year, they're
That means
monitoring your deterioration.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
there's more than one way to look at it. Right?
Right. No, I
All
know.
right.
Yeah.
I have to
That's
go
right.
have some coffee or I'm going to.
Okay, have some coffee.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Thanks,
lots of love to
Denise.
everyone. Thanks everyone for
Thank
watching.
you, everybody, for watching. Yes. Thank you very much.